Good morning, and how are you guys? I'm Leanne. This is my weight loss channel, and I'm following Slimming World. And so far, I'd got to a weight loss of just over 13 stones. However, life is lifing at the moment, and I can't say I've probably maintained that loss. I may have put a little bit on, but it's Monday and I've had a little bit of a wobbly weekend. I've actually had a wobbly 2 weeks. But I thought I'd jump on here and have a little bit of an update. My last upload was me being quite miserable and quite mardy. If people don't know what mardy means, because I've been asked this before, it means a little bit whiny and a bit miserable and feeling sorry for yourself. I think it must be like a Yorkshire term, but mardy is that. And I was being mardy, and I have a tendency to sometimes be mardy, but I also have a tendency to kick myself up the arse when I'm being mardy. So if you didn't know what that means, welcome to the Yorkshire term of mardy. And that's the education of today. So anyway, let's get this underway. I haven't really fully thought about this video or planned it. I just thought I'm jumping on and I'm going to do a quick update because it's Monday and I've decided we're starting a new week. It is starting fresh. We're just going to move forward. So my last update was me telling you about my hospital visit and the tests that I've had. I've had a monogram and an ultrasound. At the moment, I've not heard back from them. They happened on Tuesday to now is Monday, so that was like 6 days ago. I have actually no idea how long that takes for the results. And that's bugging me a little bit, I'm not going to lie. So I am being tested for breast cancer. I was not at the hospital to go and get tested for breast cancer. However, during a surgeon consultation, he was feeling my chest and right just here, like literally just there. I don't think I will ever forget that spot ever again. I got marked with a permanent marker and he felt a lump. And that took me back a little bit. That did kick me in the face a small amount and it gave me a massive wobble. So since then, I have worked. I have not really told anybody in real life. In real life, there is Oliver that really knows about it, and one person that happened to be with me at the hospital when it all happened. And that made it a little bit harder because I had no choice but to share all that information with said person who I'm not going to name. And that made that all quite difficult, but also, I suppose, good that I wasn't on my own. Since then, I have sat and thought about things. And no, before I go into that, since then, I have not looked after myself at all. I have eaten absolutely everything. I have dive bombed into Comfort Eating Central. I wasn't really on it. We went away to Budapest, and then the weekend after Budapest, my mum had bought us tickets to go to London for the weekend. So I'd done a long weekend in Budapest, come back to work, and then gone to London. And during that time, I was not on plan. Now, this is not usually a problem because I don't mind coming off plan, and I don't mind if I put a little bit of weight on. I generally then jump back on it and pay back my debt. I came back from London, and then on Tuesday, I went for said appointment where I'm now being tested for breast cancer, and my little head just exploded with overwhelming emotion and, I'm not gonna lie, fear. It's not something that I particularly know a lot about. I I think it's quite a taboo subject sometimes, and people, I don't feel, they either put on a brave face or not. And I did not. I went into total and utter breakdown. And in all honesty, I'm going to say this, like, my feelings, I can honestly say, are not really feelings about myself. I went into absolute fear and overthinking about leaving my kids. Now, my kids are not little kids. They are 19 and 22. But I've been a single parent to them children, and I am their world and they are my world, and we are very close and very reliant on each other, I suppose, as a unit. Now, they are fiercely independent. They are very capable girls. They are clever, vivacious, fierce, little warriors. They are confident. They have been brought up to be resilient. And I have made a point of making little warriors, because the only person that they have truly got in their life is me. And I was always very fearful of leaving them and not installing that strength in them and that kind of way. So I suppose them fears of them being on their own without me kind of all surfaced during this moment, and I found it very, not sad, I was more scared, like terrified that I'd not got all my life in order to make it easier for them. And the thought of leaving them to this big bad world on their own, even now, saddens me. It makes me want to cry. But that being said, it's quite dramatic, and I am not at that stage yet. So after all that massive emotion of feeling all them things, major one is just, like, I am not fearful of treatment. I am not fearful of fighting. I'm not really fearful financially. I'm not really, like, I'm quite hardy and resilient where all that's concerned. I'm not scared of surgery. I'm not scared of treatment. I'm just not that scared of them things. Anything that is just me, I can do. I'm going to say this now, and I'm sorry if this offends you. I'm not fearful of death. It's not a taboo subject for me. I can speak quite openly about it. It's inevitable. I've grown up around, I've worked in a lot, like, I've been a nurse. I've worked in nursing homes for experience. Like, it's not something that really, it doesn't scare me, that part of it. What does scare me is leaving my babies. And I know they're not babies, but them girls will always be babies to me. And after processing all that, that is where my fear is. And ultimately, after thinking about this, it's not something I can control. It's not something that I can manage. It's not something that I can do anything about. And ultimately, in retrospect of this situation and looking back, I don't even know where I stand where this is concerned, because I've not even had any outcomes to this. There is nothing any further than a mammogram and an ultrasound. So then I've sat and thought about it, and I'm being really dramatic. I'm like, stop being dramatic and stop using this as a massive excuse. So that is how I feel, and I will update this vlog because it's really nice for me to have something to talk to. If it's not something that you want to hear about, I'm not offended if you don't want to follow my channel, if you can't watch these aspects of my channel, and I completely get that. That is totally and utterly understanding. For me, I think I'm going to share it as much as I can, as much as I can share this. I'm gonna, you may have me crying, you may have me not looking the best and not feeling the best. But the reason I started this channel is because I felt really lonely, and regarding my weight and being bigger, like I was substantially bigger, and I wanted to share it to maybe help somebody else not feel as lonely, that it's quite normal to feel like that, and it's okay to feel like that. And I've shared some quite embarrassing things and like fat shaming videos and stuff like that, and I wanted like my vlogs to maybe just be good for one person out there to think, actually, she's done it, and it might take her years and years, and she's a bit of a fuck up, but she's still plodding on, and I'll join her in that. And that's what, like, I am always here as a channel, for as long as I am here, to share this, to do stuff together. I genuinely, like, I mean that. Whether it's just one singular person or 15,000 people, I don't really care, just as long as it maybe helps somebody. But like now this has happened to me, I think sharing this could be important to maybe one person out there, and you need to be scared of stuff and what it involves, and maybe raise awareness and make somebody else check themselves, and things like that can only be a good thing, can't it? Because the earlier anybody catches anything, the earlier it can be dealt with, and that's where I'm at with it. I'm gonna try not to be as dramatic and mardy, but there's no promises, because I can't sometimes help that. Well, I can help that because you're in control of your own emotions and your own like actions, but I do lose control of that, and I will try not to be, but it can't always be promised. Anyway, so like I said, from there, all weekend I've ate crap. I have ate crap all week. I have not been on it. I've not felt like being on it. I felt an emotional wreck. I have lapsed into some serious unhealthy habits, and yeah, I decided that Monday morning, they gotta stop, it's not gonna happen. So one good thing from all of this is this is day 6 of not smoking. Yes, that's a little bit difficult. Oliver is still smoking. I have asked him not to smoke around me. However, he's getting a little bit lax with that. But I am my own being. I am in charge of my own behaviors and actions. So even if people around me smoking, I am not smoking, because I am so annoyed at myself for being a smoker, and I almost feel like I can't be annoyed at going through this, because my lifestyle could quite easily, not just smoking, but being overweight and what I've eaten and all choices could have led to this. So I can't be that annoyed. I'm just gonna deal with it. So I now am on day 6 today of not smoking, which that's a benefit. I wanted to quit anyway. That's cool. It's like ultimate motivation, isn't it? A kick up the arse like this. Nothing like fear to drive you forward. So that is what I'm doing. So woohoo! Day 6. Here we go. I've just seen my vintage top has got a hole in it. I'm so upset about this because I love this top. Annoying. And then I have now analysed that I am using this and emotions as an excuse to fall back into old habits. And although I'm not going to beat myself up for doing that, I am also not going to allow myself to continue, because that is not what I'm about. So me and Oliver have spoken about eating a bit better. Like, I was already doing so, but I think this has given me further motivation I want to eat less processed foods. I want to fuel my body with better nutrients, and I do not want to eat crap, and I don't want to make those choices, and I don't want to lapse back into old habits, and nor am I going to let myself let's be quite frank, nor am I going to let myself. So here I am on Monday morning with a black coffee, and I am starting afresh at eating better and doing better. And this is my accountability video to say I am back on track. I have not been weighed for 2 weeks, and just right this minute, I don't think I want to get on the scales. I just need maybe a few days. I don't want to get on there and be thinking about that just right now. A little bit of me is a bit like, oh my God, when people quit smoking, they put weight on. But is that an excuse? That could be just an excuse. So I'm going to try very hard not to. I'm going to pull back on new learned behaviours of eating better and making better choices and reflecting on my emotions to ensure that I don't make choices irrationally. Ooh, I think that was well put together for me because I'm not that articulate, I'm not going to lie. So that is where I'm at, and that is what I'm going to do. It's Monday. I hope you're having a good Monday. I just do want to say a huge thank you for all the people that have left me really nice messages, and particularly the people that have shared their own experience, be it personal or somebody they know of. As sad as this is, it helps. It has helped, and especially with somebody that I'm not going to offload this problem onto other people and burden them with it until I have to, because I just don't think it's fair. Oh, it's hard underneath my eye. I don't. So I think you're going to be the only outlet that I really discuss this with fully, if that makes sense. And I think I'm just going to plod on with it. I'm quite happy about stopping smoking, but it's quite comforting and uplifting to hear your guys' advice and experience and things like that. Anyway, I'm going to stop going on, but I'm just saying, if I've not replied to your comment yet, it's not because I don't want to. It's because there was an overwhelming amount of comments, I'm not going to lie. But also in periods, I've just needed to have a little bit of time just to process this for myself, just so I can get to this point in my existence, if that makes sense. I sometimes just need a little bit of downtime, just to get to where I need to be mentally. And I feel like I'm doing quite well. I'm not as teary now, and I feel a lot stronger and a lot more determined. So that's where I'm at. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend. Here's to a marvellous Monday, and I will catch up with you guys very soon. Check your boobs. That's going to be my new sign off. Have a lovely day and grope your boobies. Obviously checking for lumps and making sure that you're safe. And if you're male, you still need to do this. And if you're watching this and you know this, but males can also suffer with breast cancer. You should be checking other areas too. That's going to be my new sign off. Who'd have thought? Take care.